This is KMJ at KMJNow.com or wherever you stream. Welcome to the Marc Kapetan Show. This is attorney Marc Kapetan, your host. Today's show is brought to you by the Kapetan Brothers Law Firm. We've been serving the Central Valley since 1995. If you or anybody you know has been injured in an auto accident, a truck accident, or a motorcycle accident, give us a call at 559-498-8000. Or if you've been arrested or cited for a criminal offense, call us at the Kapetan Brothers, 559-498-8000. Kapetan Brothers, we are the Valley's law firm, folks. We have a new sponsor of the Marc Kapetan Show. You know, Greeks and Armenians, they're like brothers and sisters from another mother, right? And we know our Mediterranean food. And speaking of brothers, the Akisian brothers, who own the Arc Mediterranean restaurants, Arc Mediterranean Grill here in Fresno. I think one's on Champlain and Shepherd. The other one's on Herndon and Armstrong. Great Armenian family owned and operated authentic Mediterranean style restaurant. It's time to try the mouth-watering hummus, lamb kebabs, beef kebabs. What else? Lulu, right? Lulu kebabs. I'm sitting here with a nice Armenian girl here. They said great baklava. Vache Mukhtarian from the Cracked Pepper says he loves the food at the Arc. The chicken and the Lulu kebabs are his favorite. And let me ask you if you know this one, my guest. DJ Deco Check-In? Do you know DJ Deco?
I do.
I love that name. DJ Deco Check-In says you could never go wrong with the lamb chops at the Arc. So if you're looking for some great Mediterranean food, I go there. I have lunch there a lot. You go there?
I go there. In fact, this good Armenian family, every Christmas Eve, we get our Armenian food from the Arc.
How about that, folks?
Every Christmas
Are
Eve.
you kidding? How
100%.
About that?
That's how good it is.
And this girl are you 100% Armenian?
I'm half, but
okay,
I feel
well,
like I'm 100%.
her half Armenian goes 100% for the Arc Mediterranean Grill. So, new sponsor of the show, the Arc Mediterranean Grill. Speaking of my next guest, I'd like to highlight attorney friends here on the show, and that's originally how the show started off, all attorney friends. But some of the lawyers, it got old talking about law all the time and stuff like that, and they weren't the most dynamic, some of them, and interesting people in the world. So, well, it's time to have another attorney here on the Marc Kapetan Show, and you can't find anybody more dynamic and interesting than my next guest, and fun and dedicated and a great district attorney. She is a local gal. I could say gal, right?
You sure can.
Yeah.
You could say girl, too.
Girl?
Don't say lady.
Don't say lady?
No.
You're not a lady. Oh,
I don't like that.
This show is going to be good.
Makes me seem old.
Well, the fun that we see you have on the air shows, maybe there's times that, no, I'm not going to say that you're not a lady. She is a good Central Valley Armenian girl. She's one of the top dogs down at the district attorney's office for Fresno County, prosecuting some of the most heinous criminals in our valley. She's also been a good friend to me and a great adversary. She's now the assistant district attorney under Lisa Smith-Camp. Recently was awarded the Marjorie Mason's Top 10 Women of the Year Award, an honor partially earned because of her prosecution of criminals and protection of victims of human trafficking, more specifically juvenile human trafficking, as hard as that is to believe. So I'd like to welcome to the Marc Kapetan Show from the Fresno County District Attorney's Office, Assistant DA Traci Fitzler. Welcome.
Woohoo, thank you.
You like that?
Happy to be here. I love it. That was such a great introduction.
Made you sound important?
Yeah, it made me sound a lot of things. I like it.
All right, I got to say, Marjorie Mason Center Award for the top 10 women. I know some of the other women that are on there. In fact, our very own Patty Hickson, right?
100%. I'm with her. So excited.
How great is that, being a Valley girl, a Fresno girl, to get an award from your community like that?
How great. It's amazing. It's almost surreal. I don't even know if I believe it's happening. I know it is because I just came from an interview for Marjorie Mason right now. I just didn't expect it.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me, why do you think you got it? Or, what is it about you that makes you a top 10 candidate? And truth be told, I really don't even know how to answer that.
We're going to talk about your early years, high school and all that kind of stuff. But I guess one of the things is I always knew you down at the district attorney's office as funny, hardworking, agreeable, but not always, as far as having cases against you. But did you ever recognize that you had this drive to now sit there and go, geez, I'm actually being recognized for something that I may or may not have thought I've ever had?
No, I don't. That's the strange thing about it, or the interesting thing about it, is you do a job, and I do a job that I love.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you're doing your job, it's just that you're doing your job. So to then have someone, an organization, recognize what you've done or deem it to be, worthy.
Or worthy.
It is, it doesn't always make sense to me, because I feel like I'm just doing my job, right? I just do my job. And what my job is, I protect the community, help victims. So,
what's funny about that is most people, most people do their job. And yes, it is our job that we do as far as law is concerned. But as a DA, and you just sort of glossed over it. Well, yeah, I just do my job. I protect victims and I prosecute criminals and stuff like that. And it's like, well, wait a minute. This is the most significant of jobs, especially in these times.
Yes.
That you say my job is to protect victims, and like we talk about with the human trafficking and stuff like that. Those are things that are, your job is life-changing for people.
It can be, yeah.
No, every day.
Yeah, it can be. And I think it's life-changing for not just only the victims that you come into contact with, but you also can change the lives of the person that you're prosecuting.
Well, yeah, and many of them could be in prison for the rest of their lives.
But you can also help to rehabilitate them.
And yes, and it's funny that you say that, because I do these little rehabilitation plans for just odd things, but for mainly drugs and alcohol and stuff like that. And people say, well, why do you do this? The judge is going to give them a program or something like that. And I say, if I could earn or buy my way into heaven, then I'll do this, because being a defense attorney is not going to get me into heaven, I don't think,
But don't you think you also do it because you want that person to come back to your community better?
I do that. No, I never thought of it that way. I do it because I would love to see the person in 10 years and have them say, hey, Mr. Kapetan, look at me. I from the moment that we worked on that case together, obviously me representing them, I decided that it's time to change my life around. Yeah.
Right. And then it also can better and help your community that you live in.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I get it. Okay. So am I getting the Marjorie Mason Top 10 Women's Award? Hey, it can happen in this day and age with the way we look at sexual assignment. Yeah. Oh, God. Okay. Give a sense, we sit around the dinner table, and if you and I went out to dinner tonight, we would sit there and talk about our jobs, and people would be horrified the conversations we have. Yeah. Give the people out there a sense, because I know one of the significant things that you do that you really cherish as part of your job was to represent juvenile victims of human trafficking. What does that typical case look like? What is it like sitting next to a young child, and what have they gone through? And you could be as, I don't want to say graphic, but as, as tough as possible in trying to get this across to this community that this stuff needs to stop.
So we started at the juvenile unit, just so for background, a court that was developed to help those victims of human trafficking. Now, they're in the system because they've committed a crime, but we've identified them as being trafficked or at risk of being trafficked.
Oh, I never even thought of that. So they're usually there because of a crime they've committed.
That is correct.
Drugs mainly, stuff like that?
I mean, it could be as,
or prostitution?
No, because we can't prosecute juveniles anymore for prostitution. So they're there for maybe a 10-5-1, or car theft.
Right.
They might be there for a robbery. They could be there for vandalism. They could be there for hitting their mom or their guardian. So they're in the system because they've broken a law.
Right.
And so now they're on juvenile probation. And then they're identified as being trafficked or at risk of being trafficked. So we develop treatment plans for both.
Right.
And I'm lucky enough, because I think I've built a pretty good reputation in this criminal justice system, where the defense attorneys, because not all defense attorneys are going to let me talk to their clients, right? Most of them don't want me to.
Yeah, right.
Okay. So I think that people, I've been doing it for 26 years. I think people know that, hey, if you let Fitzler talk to your client, it's probably going to be a pretty good thing for you. So I'm able to talk to the kids, and then I learn about their background or what has gone. Oftentimes they don't want to talk about it because it's really, really bad. But the program is designed to get them to a point where they do want the help and they do want to.
Okay. That's an interesting point, because you say talking about a client. I see that kind of stuff on TV where the DA talks to the defendant. I said, no, that never happens. Okay, I want to get back to that, though.
It does.
We're going to be right back with Traci Fitzler from the Fresno County District Attorney's Office right after this. One of Marjorie Mason Center's top 10 women. We'll be right back on KMJ. This is KMJ at KMJNow.com or wherever you stream. Hey, be sure to go to KMJNow.com if you want to share this show and you want to maybe listen to it a second, third, fourth time. You could go to the podcast at KMJNow.com. Also, we want to thank our sponsor for today's show. This is the Marc Kapetan Show. The Arc Mediterranean Grill, located at Champlain and Shepherd, and another location at Herndon and Armstrong. Great Armenian food from a great Armenian set of brothers, the Akizian brothers. The Arc Restaurant. Go check out their lamb kebabs, their hummus, their lulu kebabs. Traci Fitzler, a 50%, 100% Armenian girl, loves the Arc. She's our guest for today, Traci Fitzler from the Fresno County District Attorney's Office. So, Arc Restaurant. They're a new sponsor of the show. Love it. Go out there. Try their food. It's killer stuff. It really is great. All right, Traci Fitzler she's the Assistant District Attorney. We were talking about the prosecution of human traffickers and sitting down and actually talking to a young juvenile who's been human trafficked. When you're sitting down and you say you personally talk to these kids.
Yes.
Okay. How much of it is the total? Go ahead. You want to say something?
Well, I was going to say, I talk to them to encourage them, right? That's the whole goal. We want them to do well. We want them to get out of the life. And so a lot of my role is to encourage them to participate and to, talk with their providers.
Is it, and we're talking as young as?
Oh, God. I mean, 13.
Yeah, crazy.
13, 14. So
is there
12?
Is there any kid left in them? When you look them in the eyes?
Yes, I think that there is. I do.
They could get that back.
I do. And the reason why I say that is because the providers that we work with, we do a lot of work with Breaking the Chains, EOC. I think that we all as a collective group have hope. And so we see it, we can see a little bit of hope, and then together the team works to kind of get them those services that are going to get them out of the life. Or I should really tell you this, oftentimes the first time that we work with them, it may not be the first time that
they're resistant,
correct. Right? It may not be the first time we're going to be able to do anything. That's okay. I've learned to accept that.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Yeah.
They see it as normal, this is my job.
Normal. It's been normalized for them. It's been normalized. It's part of the business. Right. Human trafficking, 100%. If people don't believe this, they should believe this now. 100% is connected to your gangs, and it's a moneymaker.
Absolutely.
Move away from gun sales, move away from drug sales, move to trafficking. Which
is
kids.
Weird, because you think that it's got to be harder to control and harder to make I guess not make a sale, because there's enough people that are perverted, have these weird perversions or whatever.
100%.
And so it's more of a moneymaker to them?
Money, because you can sell, I mean, it's awful to say, but you can sell that person over and over and over and over again. Oh, that's where you're making the money. It's a commodity
is renewable.
Correct. It's not just the one-time cocaine. It's over and over and over, the same person.
Typically, How long have they been involved in this by the time?
I mean, they could have been involved. I mean, it's kind of a twofold thing. They could be involved in it, like literally being trafficked, or they could have been involved in it their whole life because they've seen it. It's part of their family. It's part of where they grew up. So maybe they're not initially in on it, but then it's just so prevalent in their daily life that then they get themselves into it.
So it becomes generational?
Yes, 100%. 100% generational. 100%.
And obviously, because it's normalized to them, the mother or the parent, I'm assuming typically a broken household.
Yes.
So the mother usually is like, well, if it was good enough for me, it's good enough for them.
100%. Yes.
God.
100%.
What's the most shocking version? And again, without getting too graphic or whatever, but graphic enough to let the people know what you do on a daily basis, and then go home and feed your kids and have a smile on your face and pretend like there's not this evil in the world.
So I think one of the most severe cases that I've seen was a person who was, and juvenile matters are confidential, so we can't say names, we can't do any of that, but it was an individual that was very, very much embedded in it from an early age, and then just completely, I mean, I call it rape. Some of them were rapes where they just were continually used, abused, raped, sexually assaulted multiple times, over and over again by the gangs, by a client, but just constantly, I mean, raped. I mean, those are the worst scenarios that you see is the rapes.
But does the when you're talking to the person, the juvenile, do they see it as a rape? Do they have any sense that this is against their, maybe not verbal consent, but against their will, that they are, do they have a sense that they know that they're being used?
I think that many of them initially don't, and then the hope is that they will see that, and then that's a trigger for them or an assistance for them to get out of the life. But I don't think they initially see it. I think they see it as, this is what I know, this is what it is, and they keep going forward. That isn't the catalyst that's going to get them out of it. The rape is not. And you never know, from what I've learned through it and what I've read about it and what I've read 100 reports of all different people that we've worked with, and what I've learned from it is like what would maybe get me out of it and what the trigger is for me is going to be different if it was you that was being trafficked. And it could take the first time, it could take the 10th time, it could take the 100th time. And the goal always is to, and it was hard for me to accept this because I want to help everybody, right?
Yeah.
I want to take them home with me. I want to say, come on, you know this isn't good for you. You deep down know. And I think deep down they do know.
Is there that one person that you actually thought, gee, I may risk this?
Risk it how?
Like I really want to take this person home?
There was one girl, she actually had a really good family, but I did want to take her home. She had a parent that was super involved, but I bonded with her so much, and when she left, I was like, I cried. I cried when
really?
I mean, I did.
It's hard because we don't do that on a daily basis. We don't have those moments. It's just builds and builds and builds. And
I did. I really wanted to.
Do you know the final outcome for her?
I don't.
Really?
I don't.
So
I believe she did well.
Yeah.
We had one other person who was very embedded in the life, very, very, very much. And I do know, and I was shocked as all get out, is that she, and I believe she's probably still in it, but she did get her GED and graduated. Wow. So, I mean, those are little nuggets.
Well, but then you have the story about Deborah Rush herself from Breaking the Chains, who is basically the leader of this movement to stop this in the Central Valley, whose daughter got into it, was out of it for a bit, and then just ended up dead down in Los Angeles,
that is
right?
Correct. Yep, 100%. Yep.
Oh, God.
The goal is, with all of it, though, I will tell you this, the goal is to get them as many contacts as you can, so that when that person is ready to get out, they know where to go. And if we don't do it the first time, we don't do it the second time, maybe we do it the 20th time, but but that's okay. And that's a hard pill to swallow, to say, I'm not going to be able to get you out right now, because that's what I want to do.
But you set it up for the future.
That's what you can do.
We are on with Traci Fitzler, from the Assistant District Attorney from the Fresno County District Attorney's Office, and one of the top 10 Marjorie Mason Award winners for top 10 women of the Central Valley. Central Valley, right? Yeah. Something like that. We'll figure that out. All right. This is the Marc Kapetan Show. We'll be back after this on KMJ. This is KMJ at KMJnow.com or wherever you stream. Folks, you know the drill. If you have been arrested or cited by Traci Fitzler in the Fresno County District Attorney's Office, or if you've been in an auto accident, a truck accident, or a motorcycle accident, who do you call, Marcella?
The Kapetan brothers.
The Kapetan, woohoo, from Traci Fitzler, the Kapetan Brothers Law Firm. 559-498-8000. Traci knows we've been, I'm not going to ask for an endorsement, but we've been many times an adversary. Kapetan Brothers, 559-498-8000. Listen, we've talked enough serious stuff. I would talk about being in an accident and all the serious stuff, but we've talked about that before, and believe me, with the topics that we talked to Traci Fitzler from the Fresno County District Attorney's Office about human trafficking crimes. You did misdemeanors that we've had way serious discussions already.
We have.
What's the one case that really impacted you that's outside that, or the funniest case, whatever? What's that one thing that you always tell at the dinner table about a story?
Oh, so here's my claim to fame.
Okay.
Claim to fame.
Claim to fame. Well, believe me, I've heard a bunch of other claims to fame about Traci Fitzler.
This is it. Claim to fame. For whatever reasons, when I currently I'm in management, so I'm not doing as many trials or back in the day, but my claim to fame is I would go to trial, and inevitably they would go pro per. So I would have to do pro per trials, which folks, means tell them what it means. It means the defendant represents themselves, therefore acting as his lawyer or her lawyer.
Which is very funny. I saw Judge Oliver Wanger do a pro per with a prison guy, and I thought how sweet of a guy he was to really give that guy a voice and allow him to say his thing. But it'll drive you crazy when you have pro pers. Yeah.
I mean, it's terrible. You're doing everybody's job. You're doing the defense job because you don't want, to come back on appeal and have it to do it together. So
I've never thought of that. Yeah.
Correct. Right. So my craziest case was a pro per.
Okay.
And his name was Ronnie, and he beat up his roommate in a boarding care. And so he wanted to testify, and sometimes judges will, let that person, because they're acting
on and on and on.
No, they'll do the narrative. Okay. Or they don't want the narrative, because remember the narrative questions. Correct. Yeah. Remember, the defendant is now questioning himself because he's also the lawyer.
Right.
So Judge Nunez, who was one of my faves,
I love that guy.
Love him. He was not going to let Ronnie do a narrative. So in front of the jury, Ronnie, the defendant, it went like this: "What's your name?" And he would move his head. "Ronnie."
No kidding.
"Where do you live?" Blah, 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 blah.
I've never seen that happen.
Oh, I saw it. I lived it.
Wow.
It was me and Ronnie and the back and forth questioning of himself. And so when you say, what's the craziest case, the oddest case, that is it. I will tell that story all the time.
How long? God, that had to be a long trial.
No, it wasn't, because then at some point I objected, and then I shut it down, and then Ronnie got mad, and he slammed his hand, and he said, and he called me by my name, Traci. Traci. He's like, well, since Traci won't let me ask myself any questions, I'm done.
Won't let me ask myself questions. So you just kept on throwing objections to the poor guy.
I went for a long time, but we weren't getting anywhere. So I finally objected to keep some semblance of, orderly conduct.
I don't know if I agree with Judge Nunez on that. At some point, they're representing themselves, and the narrative to me and representing yourself is the purest form of justice. But you got the jury of your peers, and I'm going to present my own case. Mm-hmm. So I see it as a very pure form, and I think it's got to be done in the narrative, but I've agreed with pretty much everything else that Judge Nunez ever did. I love that guy.
He had to ask himself questions back and forth. God. It was crazy. It was a wild
scene. Was he good? Was Ronnie good as
Ronnie
an attorney?
was mean. He wasn't. He was actually probably the most evil person
Really?
I prosecuted. Yeah, his eyes were dead, and when their eyes are dead, there's no hope.
You see that in them.
I saw it. It was very, very crazy.
Did you win?
I did convict him. And my claim to fame is he got more time on the beating up. He really pummeled his roommate.
Yeah.
He got more time on that than his murder conviction in Cook County, Illinois. He was a murderer that got his way to Fresno.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was wild. And he spit on the American flag.
Oh, well, see,
Yes.
he should go to prison for life for that.
Yep.
Death penalty for that.
Yes. So that was my wildest case.
You're real conservative that way?
Well, I mean, I just talked about Texas versus Johnson. I teach criminal law.
Yeah.
I mean,
The
constitutional
flag burning,
law.
right?
Yeah. And so we had this whole, I try not to give my opinion or have anybody follow my opinion in class because I want to have this free dialogue of speech.
Oh, are you teaching at San Joaquin? I didn't know that.
No.
Where?
Fresno City College. I love it.
Oh,
Fresno
good for
City
you.
College constitutional law. So, we just last night talked about Texas versus Johnson, the burning of the American flag. I don't tell them that I think it's despicable, but yeah, I do think it's despicable.
All right. From we got the woke kids these days. What line up the percentage that thought it was bad and the percentage that thought, oh, you could do whatever you want?
So we contrast that case with when they were burning of the draft card,
Right.
which was in O'Brien in 1968. Right. And so it's interesting because the groups will usually divide up. And because I'll have military students or those students that are law enforcement that are going to be correctional officers. So that whole group will be like, oh, that's terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible. I can't believe that they found that statute constitutional, that you can burn the American flag. That's terrible. And then your younger ones, which is now going into your woke movement,
right.
They will be like, oh no, that makes sense.
We did that last weekend.
Yeah.
Right.
But I would even say the majority question it as offensive.
Yeah,
I will tell you that.
Do you get them? It's hard to get them engaged, right? Or do you get them engaged with the topics? Obviously,
I do. I try very hard, and then I'm now forcing them to participate. So here's my new assignment. Here's my new assignment. It's great. Yeah. So I have them research the current.
Yeah.
It could be past too. Current U.S. justices, chief, whatnot. Then they have to come up and give a 1-minute presentation on who they picked and why they picked them.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And I make them come in front of the class and stand and give a presentation.
No kidding.
I do.
Which is the essence of being an attorney anyway. So if you're going to, teach them con law and stuff like that.
Or just how to talk to people, because nobody knows how to talk to people anymore, right? We don't know how to talk.
You find that difficult? Did you do this before COVID and after COVID?
No, I just started teaching 2 classes before, never did it. First time doing it. This is my 3rd class teaching, and I'm finding it's good. And I think I think they actually like it. I think they take ownership of it.
Okay, that's the teacher going, they like me. They like the subject. Yeah, they're just trying to get through and get an A or something close to it.
They're trying to get those participation points.
That's too funny.
That's what's happening.
Do you ever thought you'd be little girl from Fowler?
My family.
Your family's from Fowler?
Correct.
Mom and dad, which one was the Armenian side?
Mom is Armenian.
Well, yeah, of course, because Fitzler,
Fritzler's the German side.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You're half a Kraut.
I am. But
I could say that lovingly because my aunt, that's what her husband used to say, that she was a Kraut, and he we
yes,
loved
I am.
it.
But I will tell you this. Yeah. I am half German from the Volga River in Russia.
Oh, wow.
So we're part of the great Catherine who took, the industrious Germans.
Royalty.
Yeah, the industrious Germans to Russia because we were workers. Yeah. So Volga River, that's a whole different German.
I just thought of something. My cousin's name, his real name is George. We used to call him Fritz. I mean, we thought that was his name.
Fritzler.
Yeah, Fritzler. Oh, wow.
It's a good German one. But from the Volga, remember that.
The Volga.
The Volga River.
That. Yeah. Right on the border of Russia there, yeah. Mm-hmm. Sports? No, you were a school mascot for the Sanger Apaches?
That's my second claim to fame.
Okay.
That's in my personal life. That's my biggest claim to fame.
Yeah.
Yes. And I want to tell you something about being the mascot.
Okay.
Back in the day, it's not like how it is now where you have these like foam type heads.
Yeah.
So back in the day, you had to try out in front of the whole student body, 5,000 kids, and I had to give a speech because it was, student body. It wasn't just like senior class president or junior class president. So I had to do this whole big speech in front of the whole school. And then when you won, I didn't win the first time, got beat out by a senior. Won.
Tried again.
That's me. Tried again. And then my junior year, I was the mascot, 1986. Yes, I'm dating myself. I'm old. And then you had to make your own costumes.
Oh, really?
You did. You had to make them.
And you did the war paint and all that kind of stuff?
I didn't do war paint. We were the Apache, so we have 2 feathers.
Yeah.
So we were able to wear our headdress.
Yeah.
And I had my little, smock with the feathers.
Wait a minute. You were truly a Fresno Indian then?
Was.
Do you know that term,
yes.
right? That's what they used to call the Armenians back in the day.
Exactly, when they had racial covenants also.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Isn't that crazy?
Correct.
Yeah.
And so, And
you
then
were culturally appropriating everything back then.
I was. And I played the bongos as the mascot. That was a good mascot.
Did Indians play bongos?
I made it happen.
That's so funny.
It was great.
That's got to be, that had to be fun.
It was so much fun.
Did you do the jumps and the splits and the tumbles
I was not
and all
capable.
that?
No.
Okay, none of that kind of
I didn't have to
stuff.
do that. That's why I had to bring other shticks in, which were the bongos, because I could not do the flips or any of that.
All right, we're going way over time. We're going to go straight to a commercial. This is the Marc Kapetan Show on KMJ. This is KMJ. Welcome back to the Marc Kapetan Show. Folks, the Ark. If you want great Mediterranean food, and I'm telling you, Traci Fitzler, our guest, goes there for Christmas, right? You said
Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve.
Every year.
Christmas Eve. It doesn't have to be Christmas Eve. It could be tonight. Go to the Ark Mediterranean Grill. My buddy Rob Soroyan loves the Ark Mediterranean Grill, and you can't get it any more Armenian than that. So the Ark Mediterranean Grill, great lamb chops. Their Lulu's great. I go there for lunch. I love the chicken, the fattoush salads, all that kind of stuff. The Ark Mediterranean restaurants at Champlain and Shepherd and Herndon and Armstrong. Great Armenian food by a great Armenian family. All right, we're back with Traci Fitzler from the Fresno County District Attorney's Office. I had a little bird give me some notes about you. Quote, Traci talks more than me and Manny Jimenez, number one.
This is from Lisa Smitkamp. I already know.
Lisa who?
Because she talks more than me.
She says, you're such a great mom that you used to sleep in your car while your son was at soccer practice?
I did. Yeah. So my son, big soccer player, played since he was 8 years old. COVID hit, trying to get him still practicing and whatnot. So we would go to these 5 o'clock in the morning. We would be over at Buchanan doing training, and I would sleep in the car while he did the training.
I thought for sure that she had a typo, that it was 5 p.m. It was literally 5 a.m.
Oh, yeah, because we had to come back and go online school.
All right, a few more things from her. And I want to know why we don't have a plate of funtetti cakes. What's funtetti?
Oh, it's funfetti.
Funfetti. Oh, she wrote funtetti.
No,
I'm like, I've never. It got to be some sort of Armenian.
Pillsbury.
What's a funfetti cake?
It's Pillsbury.
Oh,
so
God.
It's a Pillsbury cake. So it's white with these little candies in it. Super yummy. That's my. I said claim to fame 100 times, but it's another claim to fame.
Yeah.
I always make a funfetti cake.
And you make it for the people that you supervise.
I do.
And I was sitting here going, listen, I've been Greek for my whole life, and close to Armenians. I don't know what a funfetti cake is. A funfetti cake. We'll have to get the recipe and post it.
You just follow the box.
Oh, follow the box? Really?
Follow the box. And it's canned frosting, but it's the thought that counts.
Well, Kapetan Brothers deserves a plate, although that may be a conflict of interest. So, you love going to estate sales.
Oh, gosh.
With you and Deborah and Alana from the DA's office
I do.
over there.
It's my favorite. Another COVID thing I picked up. I've bought a ton of art. You should see my house.
That's what my house is filled with art.
You should see my house.
I would love to see it. What's your type of art? Modern,
a little bit of everything. Yeah. My mom is an artist. My mom paints. She does watercolors, but don't tell her this. I'm not a big fan of watercolors, but I do have some watercolors. Yeah. I like more abstract-y I like this one. Yes, I love this Armenian painter. His name is Vares Samuelian. He did the big David of Sassoon.
Of course, Vares.
I have 2 of his paintings.
You have 2
I
of
have
his
originals. I mean, you got to see it. It's great.
Where did you find those?
Oh, I found them at an estate sale. Well, and an estate sale, and then I went back and I bought them later. I have 2. I have 2 original. One from 1947 that he probably painted in Paris, and one 1956. So one's kind of a still, and one is abstract. Wow. Amazing.
Do you have my buddy Frank Arnold?
I don't,
world
because
famous
he's
artist.
very expensive, but I love him.
He's very expensive.
Expensive.
You've been down to Cabo. You love to travel. You've been down to Cabo.
I love to travel.
You've gone to Frank's place, I understand. Yeah,
I have. It's fantastic.
Fun guy. Speaking of travel, Greece.
Favorite.
You love Greece. Why?
I love it.
Why Greece?
Well, because I'm Armenian.
Yeah.
Armenia now is landlocked. And when I go to Greece, I feel like it is Armenia, what Armenia would be like if we didn't lose territory and become landlocked as part of the USSR.
Have you been to Armenia?
No, I have not. I have not been to Armenia. I know.
I've been.
You have?
Yes, I went to Yerevan with Rob Saroyan and
Rob's
the
my
medical
buddy
mission.
too.
Yeah, the medical
I've known him
mission.
since I was in high school.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You got to go.
I do.
It's a beautiful country. They have the French influence, so there's coffee shops everywhere.
Correct.
You know.
I know. I do. It is on my bucket list of travel. But Greece is kind of if I'm in Europe, which I haven't been in Europe for a long time, I will move heaven and earth to get all the way down to Greece.
What favorite city there?
Oh, God. I mean, I like them all, but okay, so full disclosure.
Yeah.
I went when I was in college with my Greek sorority sister. So I went to Loutraki, which is where the rich Athenians go, which is what I was told. But, I like the Mykonos Santorini because that's what I know from the party time. That was the party.
Yes, right.
That was party time.
And you were a UCLA party girl, right?
I was a UCLA, yes.
Greek, like Greek sorority or Greek girl that happened to be in a sorority?
Greek girl that was in my sorority.
What's her name?
Her name is Christina Kanelopoulos.
Kanelopoulos.
Yes.
And that rolled off your tongue. That's not an easy thing to do for a non-Greek.
And her parents were travel agents from Greece, and so they put together a sweet little trip for us.
But you haven't been since college?
Oh, not to Greece. No.
Dude.
Last European trip because of kids, 2003, Italy. Italy and Prague.
Yeah. But the kids, your daughter's going to soon be out of the Lily, right?
Yep.
Beautiful name. I love that.
Yeah. Lily's going to be out soon. Yeah. Miles is out.
Yeah.
So I want to kind of bring it back up. Yep.
You're single, ready to mingle, right?
Yes. Yes. Do I give my phone number now?
That's a whole new take on this show. The phone lines are open, folks. I need you to look for guitars at these estate sales. You love estate sales.
100%.
So I need you to look for guitars for me.
I will. I will. I'll send you pictures.
Yeah, please do. And
there's a lot.
Is there really?
100%.
Electric guitars?
Yep. Electric and acoustic. Yes.
I'm telling you, you take pictures, you send me, I'll buy, I'll cash on hand right there. And all right, future for Tracy?
Future.
Yeah.
I don't know. Keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Keep trucking.
You have any interesting, listen, you've moved up and I know Lisa's a great boss and stuff for you guys. And I know you guys like her and stuff like that. Any thoughts of either private practice?
No.
If Lisa retires, DA position, something like that?
I mean, she keeps saying, it's not a yes. She keeps saying, are you going to run for DA? You need to run for DA. After I'm done, are you going to run for DA? I don't. I'll tell you where I'm at. I'm in my sweet spot right now.
Okay.
Teaching at Fresno City College. I really, 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 really like teaching.
Do you need the hassles of it? I mean, because it's I'm saying of being a DA. A semi-political position. Well,
that doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
The political stuff doesn't bother me.
SBA president, I understand.
Oh, SBA?
Is that what you call it? From the law school, was it?
Oh, yes, I was.
You were SBA president.
I was, yes.
I heard all the new furniture over there was from you 20-something years ago.
I did it. I decorated it.
Yeah, it's classic.
Not with estate sale stuff, but...
It's classic furniture now. It's probably worth a lot.
It's estate sale worthy.
Yeah, so you had the political mindset.
I was senior class president. I was all sorts of stuff. Yeah. I worked for Governor Deukmejian.
Oh, you did?
I did.
You mean God?
And do you know who got me that job?
Yeah.
Rob Saroyan.
Rob Saroyan.
Yep.
George, his son, is one of my best friends. In fact, we just had dinner for my 60th birthday party.
I know. Happy
up in
birthday.
San Francisco. Rob was there.
Yeah.
George Duke Mason was there.
Yeah.
You could smell the Francis Kirchian perfume that Rob bought me on me
car?
right after the show. Yeah.
Wasn't your car?
No,
all
it's
Armenians wear your car.
no. The newest thing is Kirkjian. You gotta go check it out for your men when you're out there in the dating scene pretty soon here. All right, Traci Fitzler from the Fresno County District Attorney's Office. One of my favorite people over there. I swear to God, I love you. And
we had a good time.
Thanks for being on the show.
Oh, thank you for having me. This was amazing.
We will see you next week. By the way, Traci Fitzler, the top 10 of the Marjorie Mason Center Women of the Year. So congratulations once again.
Thank you.
We'll see you next week on the Marc Kapetan Show. This has been K.